The clinking of silverware and soft hum of jazz filled the elegant restaurant that night, where laughter and quiet conversations melted into the glow of chandeliers. Everything seemed perfect until a shattering gasp silenced the room. A young waitress, her trembling hands clutching an empty coffee pot, stared in horror at the dark stain spreading across a man's expensive gray suit. Steam still rose from the spilled cup. The man, tall and sharply dressed with arrogance painted across his face, shot to his feet. His chair scraped harshly against the floor. "Are you blind?" he barked. The room froze. His voice carried through the air like a blade. The waitress stuttered, I'm so sorry, sir, I didn't mean." But before she could finish, he shoved her shoulder. She stumbled backward, the tray clattering to the ground. She fell to her knees, clutching her arm where it hit the floor. Gasps rippled through the restaurant. No one moved. The man loomed over her, fury twisting his face. "You ruined $1,000 suit." He snarled, stepping closer, his polished shoes inches from her hand. The waitress, eyes glistening with tears, whispered the words that pierced the silence. "Please don't kick me, I'm already hurt." If stories of courage and kindness move your heart, make sure to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Everyday Kindness, where true compassion still has a voice. Her words hung in the air like a fragile echo. You could feel something shift in that moment. The laughter was gone. The music faded. Every pair of eyes in that restaurant watched her, but not one person stood up. Not one voice spoke for her. At a corner table, near the window overlooking the city lights, sat a quiet man in a navy blue suit. He had been watching since the beginning, silent, calm, observing the scene unfold. He placed his napkin on the table, pushed his chair back, and rose to his feet. His eyes weren't angry, but there was something resolute in them. He walked slowly toward the man still shouting. "That's enough," he said in a low, steady voice. The rude customer turned, sneering. "Who the hell are you to tell me what's enough?" The man didn't flinch. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a small card and placed it on the nearest table. The card gleamed faintly under the chandelier light, the restaurant's corporate logo embossed in gold. The air grew heavier. A few people recognized the symbol immediately. It belonged to the chain's parent company. The man who had just stood up wasn't just another diner. He was Ethan Hayes, the Undercover CEO, who had been quietly visiting branches to observe how his employees were treated. Ethan's gaze softened as he turned to the waitress, still on the floor, her hair disheveled and her hands trembling. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She nodded weakly, eyes filled with humiliation. "I didn't mean to spill it, sir. I was just trying to refill his cup." Ethan crouched down beside her, helping her pick up the scattered tray and shards of a broken cup. "You don't have to apologize," he said, his tone calm but firm. Then he looked up at the man towering over them. "But you should." The customer scoffed. "Do you know who I am?" he snapped. Ethan stood, meeting his glare. "Do you know who I am?" His voice carried authority now. The room fell dead silent again. The rude man blinked, confused. Ethan continued, "I'm the owner of this establishment, and what I just saw, how you treated a member of my staff, will not be forgotten." The customer's bravado crumbled. His face drained of color. I didn't know," he began, but Ethan cut him off. "You don't need to know who someone is to treat them with basic respect," he said sharply. "You think her uniform makes her less than you? That spilling a cup of coffee deserves this kind of cruelty." The man mumbled something, but Ethan gestured toward the door. "Leave. Now." As he turned to go, the entire restaurant began to murmur, whispers of shock and relief blending together. The man walked out, his pride shattered. Ethan turned back to the waitress. Her lips trembled as she whispered, I thought I was going to lose my job." He smiled faintly. "Lose your job?" After showing grace in the face of humiliation. "No," he said. "You're getting a raise and a few days off starting tomorrow." Tears spilled down her cheeks. She covered her mouth, unable to speak. The staff, watching from across the room, began clapping quietly, which soon turned into a wave of applause that filled the restaurant. The waitress stood there, trembling with disbelief, as Ethan gently guided her back to her feet. The applause faded into a soft hum of emotion. Ethan looked around the room and said, "We eat in beautiful places, wear fine clothes, and call ourselves successful. But if we forget kindness, if we forget to see one another, what kind of success is that?" No one replied, but every heart in that room felt the weight of his words. That night, the waitress sat in the break room long after closing, staring at the check Ethan had quietly left for her, not just covering the damage, but more than enough to pay her overdue rent. There was also a note beneath it, written in his steady handwriting. Never let anyone make you feel small for doing your job. The world needs more people with hearts like yours. She folded the note carefully, pressing it to her chest. For the first time in weeks, she smiled through her tears. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Everyday Kindness, where every story reminds us that compassion still wins in the end. As she left the restaurant that night, the city lights shimmered across the glass, and for the first time, she didn't feel invisible. Somewhere deep inside her, the echo of Ethan's words kept her walking tall. Proof that a single act of courage can turn pain into purpose and silence into justice. Because sometimes, all it takes is one person to stand up to change everything.